Hi everyone, today's video is about how I entertain my kids without using technology. Now, I do think that technology is really important in all of our lives and is important in children's lives, but I do try to limit my kids' access to technology as much as I can at the moment while they're still fairly little. I think that social media and so on can have such a detrimental impact on kids, and I just think it's a slippery slope, and I like to think of ways that my kids can have fun, enjoy their toys and enjoy playing with their friends without always having to resort to using technology. And with that I mean iPads, I mean laptops, but I also mean the television. So it's thinking of other things that they can do. And some days I think it's wonderful that I look back and I think that they haven't been accessing screens, that they haven't been using the television at all in that day. So I have got 10 tips that I would like to share with you, and I'm hoping that maybe they might become a little memo that you put on your fridge or something that will give you some ideas of how to entertain your kids without having to use technology. So let's get started. So tip number one is that I set my kids Lego challenges. So this might involve something seasonal, it might involve the holidays. So my kids made Christmas nativity sets during the last few weeks. They also made gingerbread houses, so we had a little Christmas Lego display. We might also do something seasonal, we might do a landmark. I might say to my son, who's interested in all things military, go and do me a depiction of the Battle of Hastings or something like that, and he'll go off for ages and do all of that and get really excited about it. So a Lego challenge is a really good idea, and there's some great stuff on Pinterest which will just give you a whole raft of ideas that you can set your kids. Tip number two is that I look around really carefully for competitions. So that might involve writing or art or story or poetry. So I look in things like Primary Times that we get, the Parent Talk magazine or newspaper that we get from school, the newsletters that come home from school. If there's any opportunity to do writing or any sort of colouring or things like that, and it isn't about the winning, it's the actual task that they really enjoy with the possibility of winning something at the end. So if you look at, and I know Parent Talk and Primary Times have websites that you can, some of the competitions are online, but if you haven't got the paper, then you can go online and find the competitions. But I like to do the ones, obviously it's pen to paper rather than having to do something online. Tip number three is cooking. I think cooking is so important. My son is 11 and my daughter is 6. I'd say that my daughter is probably more into cooking than my son, but actually I think it's so important that I am teaching him how to cook some basic meals so that he's got some skills, because he will be doing some cooking when he goes up to secondary school. But just in life generally, he needs to know how to cook. And actually, when you think of famous chefs, there's loads of male famous chefs, and I think you need to sort of light a spark when they're younger. So cooking is a really big one for us. I try and get them involved in cooking all the time. My next tip, which is tip number 4, is that I sometimes set up indoor and outdoor treasure hunts. Now, they don't have to involve food, Easter egg hunts and things like that, but they can be, take 10 similar items, and I've done this with little balls. I have done it with chocolate buttons when I've had a really rainy day and been desperate. But I might take 10 little objects, like my daughter collects these little Hatchimal toys. So I might go and hide 10 in the room, things like that, and they have to go and find them. that is good fun, and often if they're playing with younger children as well, with their cousins, that can go on and on. So that's a good one. And indoor, and then outdoor, when it in the summer, that's brilliant. I can go and hide things in the garden for them to find. Tip 5 is that the suggestion that they put on a show. So like my son sometimes does magic shows. My daughter quite often will put on a dance show, pantomime or a play. And you know, it'll be right, you've got to rehearse it, you've got to be ready, and then we'll come and watch it, and they'll make us little tickets and we have to go and watch their show. And actually that can be a whole day, just them setting up a little show for us, and then we video it quite often because it's just so lovely. Nice thing to keep for memories. The next tip I've got is that I find out about writing to people. So recently I did a little bit of a trawl to see who my son could write to. So, and my daughter at one stage, but she's still quite little. So he has been writing to some famous authors who he admires, to tell them what he thinks of their book, to ask some questions, things like that. And some authors will reply, like we've had reply from David Walliams. He's written to Philip Pullman, Michael Morpurgo, and you might get something a bit bog standard. Sometimes you'll get a response which is personal for that child. So that's something to look into if a child is interested in a particular author, to write them a letter or write them a funny poem or write about how the book has affected them, or review it and send it to them. They, you know, a lot of authors really like that. The other thing is writing a letter to a family member. So sometimes we will do this if a family member lives further away and we want to keep in touch, but obviously you can pick up the phone, but I'll get them to write a little letter, draw a picture of what they've been doing. They love doing that. So writing letters and writing for a purpose is really important for them in their learning. So we'll try to do that quite regularly. One that I do suggest to them, and I think this is tip 7 now, is have a declutter of their toys and donate some of them. Again, this can take all afternoon, just to go through like our games cupboard and decide what we're keeping, and actually decide what do we need, what would we like, have we moved on from any of our toys or our games. So and also going through their rooms, what do they need. But in other places, like we've got toys in the bathroom, are there bath toys that we can get rid of that are too young for them, or that they can that are dirty and we can throw away. So it's going through and just making them appreciate that they need to make space if they want new things, but giving to others is so important. My next tip, which is number 9 or number 8, is playing card games and board games. So I guess this is an obvious one, but I mean, if you've got games, play them, because I know lots of people who buy games for their kids and they don't actually play them. So we do try to do that. Some of the ones, things like bananagrams and double, and you know, they're games that we play together as a family. All 4 of us can play together, which is nice. So it's finding games that are going to work for you as a family. My next tip, which I think is number 9, is craft. So we have got lots of craft items. We've got hammer beads, we've got air dried clay, we've got Fimo clay, we've got scratchy engraving art kits, and sometimes it's just like, you know, get them out, make a mess, and have some fun doing it. Painting, get the glitter out with the hoover on standby, you know, make some craft. But often with craft, again, I like to have a purpose. So it might mean looking in a book and finding some inspiration for something that you want to make, or decorating a photo frame for a present. So craft, but having a purpose with the craft, is something that I think that, you know, my kids really enjoy doing. Now my final point, which was number 10, is applying for their Blue Peter badges. Now my son did the Blue Peter badge a few years ago, and you can apply for your Blue badge from age 6. My daughter has just turned 6, so she's actually in the process of applying for hers at the moment. I'm going to be sending it off tomorrow. But the process has been lovely. Again, no technology. She made several Lego sets that she had for Christmas along the same theme, so with all like snow related. She's got a ski lift and a chalet and things like that. So she's put them all together and then she's written a story about it. I've taken photographs and we're going to submit it all to Blue Peter, and it's all, if you like, old-fashioned, because you have to put it everything you're submitting into an envelope and you post it off and you wait for your Blue Peter badge. And she's absolutely loved doing it. And if you go on the website, you do need to go on the website to find out, but you can print off the information about once they've applied for a Blue Peter badge, the blue one, and they've got it, they can apply for a silver badge. There's also, which is, you know, it's doing something further. There's also a green badge if you do something to do with conservation, nature. There's I think it's purple, where you do a review of the show. So if there's a particular episode of Blue Peter that they've really enjoyed or they've been really interested in, they can do a review and send that off. So it's not just one badge. There's lots of different badges. There's also competitions being run all the time through Blue Peter. Again, you probably have to go online to find out about them unless you're watching the programme religiously. But there are things that my son has done, like he submitted a picture which was an entry for their mascot for the Paralympic Games. He has submitted short stories, things like that, that he wouldn't have possibly done if you know, I hadn't said to him, let's have a go, you know, doing this competition. So the Blue Peter badges are fantastic and keeps them, you know, on track to go. If they get a badge, their Blue Peter Blue badge, they then want to go for the other badges. So we'll then try to find out, you know, what do we need to do, what activities can we do so that you can submit for that badge. So that's something definitely to look into. So I hope those tips have helped you. I know I've been talking a lot, but I have found that over the Christmas holidays with my children, they have been doing a lot of these things, and we haven't had I mean, they've hardly been on the iPad or the laptop. Yes, of course, there's Christmas TV, but that we have been doing so many other things that haven't involved the television or computers, which is fantastic, and it's really helped us to reconnect as a family and enjoy each other's company. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry if I got my numbering a little bit wrong, but what I'll do is I'll try to add the numbering in when I go through and edit this. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.